Welcome. God bless this food before us, this evening of fellowship, and the first responders and veterans, and God bless America. Amen. Amen.
And when you checked in, you saw a book by Travis Mills. That's who I met. There are 5 men now that have lived that were quadruple amputees. That now, through Building for America's Bravest, we have helped build smart homes. One step further, at Harper One Convention, we were introduced to him by Frank Siller. Frank Siller's little brother, Stephen, had just left his shift at Brooklyn Firehouse and was on his way to go play golf with his brothers. The first plane hit, he heard it on a scanner, and he called his wife and said, "Honey, call my brothers, tell them I'll meet up with them later." That never happened. He went back to the firehouse and got his gear, which, by the way, I can attest to, it weighs 60 pounds. He took it, and if you remember, President Bush closed all the tunnels and bridges and all that stuff, so he couldn't drive there. So he ran from Brooklyn under the tunnel along Battery Park to the Twin Towers, where he was tragically killed. His brother, Frank, and their family started the Stephen Siller Tunnels to Towers Foundation. So the Tunnels to Towers, you follow his footsteps. So the event, which I'm looking, Joyce Gaskins, Janelle Showers, Janelle Dunn, have all done with me. We've flown to New York. You start in Brooklyn, and the city of New York closes the tunnel that connects Brooklyn and Manhattan, the only time of the year they've ever done it. And you walk under the tunnel, you go along Battery Park, and you end at Ground Zero. And to say it's not moving is an understatement. When you're in the tunnel, when you come out, there are the bagpipers from New York playing on the left. All along the way, there's people cheering from you. And I have to say, so this year, there were 8 of us. And for all of you know, Debbie and Rick Ginder could not be here tonight. They were at a wedding out of town. And I was really worried about Debbie Ginder doing a 5K, because it's a 5K, that's 3 miles. And she said, "Julie, I go to Pilates." Debbie, Pilates is not walking. And then you also have to walk to get to Brooklyn. So it ends up being about 5 miles that day. Debbie, that's 5 miles. And I said, "Have you been practicing walking down Van Ness?" "I don't need to practice." So I will tell you, I at the time didn't know it. At the end, I ended up not being with her. I was at the start this year with Teresa at the beginning, which is why you saw my selfie with Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who's going to be our future something. And so she's going, and not even halfway through the tunnel, she's not doing well, she said. And then running by her is a fireman with respect for Stephen Siller wearing full gear. So the whole time we're doing this event, which by the way, there were 35,000 people doing this event this year. And here's running by her a man in his full gear, his boots, his jacket, his pants, which weigh over 40 pounds. And she said, if he can do that, I can do it. And that is the theme of the charity. Helping others, doing more than you're asked of. And that is how the foundation has started raising money, was through that walk. The first year they had 500 people. What's that, 500 people? We have 50 here. Yeah, 35,000 plus. And when it's done, the whole downtown is blocked off where the Twin Towers are, and it's the largest block party in the world. And I have to say, if there's anything, it's funny, people talk about, oh, I'm going to Switzerland, oh, I'm going to Europe, I'm doing this. Stay here in the United States? Why do you need to go somewhere else when these amazing, visiting New York alone, if you know, what a great thing to do. But to do that event, if you could do one thing on a bucket list, I have to tell you, you've got to do it. You really, really do. And the Siller Foundation and all they've done, being involved in charities, we all know owning the business overhead. Their financials are on their website. 94% plus of every dollar earned tonight goes to the charity. I could not imagine running my overhead at 6%, right? So I'm going to thank you all for coming, and Charles, do we have shirts and stuff? You're going to get at the end tonight, first of all of your wine glasses are yours to take home. Those are the nice etched glasses. We also are going to get a bag from Carpet One with some stuff in it. In the bag is a form. There are the coolest shirts, hats, and sweatshirts that have the logo that you've seen tonight that is on your wine glass. And so what we're doing is selling the shirts and the hats for $25, and the sweatshirts are $50. Mohawk bought me all the shirts and hats. So every check is made out directly to the Steven Slater Foundation. So a thank you again. So far, this dinner before tonight has raised $10,950. Not bad for a bunch of good friends getting together, having some good food, and getting drunk. So enjoy. Thank you.
And before I dive into the story, I also want to point out that Julie was very modest before when she stated that like this store owner from Fresno, California is like the top fundraiser. What she didn't say is that over about 15 months, she has raised almost $50,000.
We have. There's no I.
Well, there may be a we, but I would say that at Carpet One, we all find Julie just to be really inspiring. And, you know, sometimes when you start wondering if you're working on the right thing and whatnot, you get on the phone with Julie, and there's really no question. And Julie gets on the phone with us at all hours of 7 days a week, doesn't really matter. And we pick up the phone, because that's what we do. So here's a simple story, and I think the reason why we want to tell this story to you is that I think that it's relevant to everyone here. So Julie mentioned these conventions that are like these kind of boring conventions, which came as a shock to Terry and I, because we're the ones that put them on. And we're like, I thought they were like really exciting. But we were at the convention in Denver, and the long days. And my thing when I get back to my hotel rooms, I just like to relax a little bit. So like at the time I was like going to Facebook or whatever. And so I saw this guy named Jack Helt. He's a lieutenant in the fire department in New York, and he posted something about asking people to go to a fundraiser in Pittsburgh because they were building a home for a severely wounded service member named Doug Vitale. And I went to sleep, and I thought to myself, I don't actually know anyone in Pittsburgh, and it's not because I don't want to know anyone in Pittsburgh. I just don't know anyone in Pittsburgh, and so I didn't know what I could do to help. But when I woke up, again, I'm at a flooring convention where we have about 50,000 square feet around us of installed flooring. And I thought, well, maybe the home needs flooring. So I got in touch with Jack, and now meanwhile, Jack is a lieutenant in the fire department. He works full-time in the FDNY. He also had a second full-time job, which was volunteering for Tunnel to Towers. And he didn't really know that I worked for the world's largest supplier of installed flooring. He thought that maybe I just wanted to go to the house and pound some nails and help them out. And then meanwhile, I bumped into Terry, and I said, hey, what do you think? Like, we did this, blah, blah, blah. So very quickly, everyone at Carpet One got on board with this idea that, you know what, there are these homes, and what we learned was that they were building homes for the most severely wounded service members. And what's interesting is that the medical advancements are just so extreme that there are people that survive injuries that was unthinkable years ago. But what hasn't happened is the social services have not caught up with the medicine. So you have these guys that have made these extraordinary sacrifices, and their families have made these extraordinary sacrifices for our country. And once Walter Reed or whatever hospital, the VA that they're going to patches them up, they're now on their own to figure it out. And they have to think hard about, like, well, where am I going to go for Thanksgiving? Like, am I going to be able to use the bathroom at this house? Am I, when I get there, I want to find the best chair in the house because I may not be able to leave that. You know, can I go hang out with my friends? Like, there's so many things that they have to process. So we learned about, we're like, you know what, we're totally in, but what we had to do is we had to go get the floors themselves, right? So I work with this guy named Charlie Dilks, he's the Chief Product Officer. Charlie and I have a really good thing going on. We do like sort of like the show and tell. He does the talking, I do the showing because I'm the visual person. And we went to Mohawk, and the idea was that, you know, I made this big presentation, had like all these nice pictures and slides and all this great stuff, and we were going to do our little show and tell. And Charlie disappears, and all of a sudden I'm sitting in front of these people, I'm about to ask for a few $1 million, and I'm really bad talking about money, like I'm terrible. Like, don't ever ask me to figure out a check, because I'm just really bad at it. And I started talking to Mohawk about it, and like literally within 3 minutes they said yes. And they said yes to this unknown number of homes. So at the time, it looked like it's about 45 homes. It's now 200 homes. And they said yes. And then, so that was great, and we were very excited about it. And it was one of those things where as soon as they said yes, and I realized they said yes, I was like, I have to figure out how to get out of this room really quickly before they know what they did, you know, because I was like so flipped out, like, they said yes. So then we went and we talked to our members about that, and that's where Julie, bumped into Travis, and again, we didn't really know what we were getting into in a certain level because Carpet One is a co-op, so it's all, like Julie, individual store owners throughout North America, and we were hoping that they were going to get on board with us, but we weren't really sure. And I have to tell you something, the Carpet One members, like Julie and like her colleagues across the country and across North America, were 100% in. And it was really amazing, and it was a beautiful thing to see how hard our stores wanted to help. And so, you know, what happens is when we have a house, we get a local store to help do the installation. Mohawk brings us the flooring. But then members like Julie came to us and they said they wanted to do more. And so we came up with this idea of having someone donate $10 after they do a sale, which is great. But then members like Julie want to do more, which brings her to bring your community into this and raising almost $50,000 in 15 months, which is amazing. And we're really deeply grateful to Julie and to all of her colleagues who are helping do this. Because it's one of these things where it's a nice thing to do, but it's more than a nice thing. It's what we have to do. We owe this to our service members. And so I think that Julie wanted me to tell the story because I think that this is one of these things where you never really know who you might be sitting next to. And so when someone says to me, why are you going to Fresno? I tell them exactly why I'm going to Fresno. I'm going to Fresno because I have this great friend who owns a store, and she is raising money for this wonderful nonprofit that builds homes for our most severely wounded service members. So you know what? I don't know who I'm talking to. And just like Jack, who's a lieutenant in the fire department, he had no idea. And I was telling someone earlier, Julie was involved in something. We had firefighters in the FDNY who had all participated in the recovery at 9/11 go across the country to our stores, and they were delivering pieces of steel from the World Trade Center. I think you have your piece of steel here. And these guys at the FDNY, they really felt like they were alone. They thought that it was their job to take care of these service members. They didn't know that there are people across the country that want to help and needed to know how to help. And so when they made that trip and they went across the country to all these Carpet One stores, it was so cathartic to them to know that there are Americans across this country from coast to coast that care, that are behind them, and that it really doesn't matter, who you voted for. We are all behind our service members because we owe it to them. It's the right thing to do because this is our country and we need to take care of them. And this is Julie's piece of steel. So thank you all very much. And Julie, thank you for leading the way for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Julie!
they're bringing out dessert in a couple minutes. And again, whether you like ice cream or not, it was my dad's favorite. And someone made it for tonight. So please, when was the last time you had homemade strawberry ice cream? I'm just going to answer a question that Terry Daniels asked me. It's funny how we've been fundraising for a couple of years, and no one's ever asked me why I'm doing it. And it's funny how she's in charge of public relations for Carpet One. So, and I did at Carpet One convention, it was when Frank Siller spoke about his little brother and what that did. There's a quote by Wintley Phipps. It is, now mind you, I'm going to remind you, I was raised by a mother who was a Sunday school teacher. And one of the first things I memorized was Proverbs 17:17, which is friends love at all times. So that is the family that I had, and I still have. His quote is, "It is in the quiet crucible of your personal, private sufferings that your noblest dreams are born. And that is when God's greatest gifts are given." So here is this tragedy of 9/11, where Stephen, at 34 years old, is tragically taken from his childhood sweetheart wife, Sally. He leaves 5 children without a father. But he lived by the philosophy of St. Francis: while we have time, let us do good. We all suffered at 9/11. Who did not watch the TV glued to it, watching what unfolded? But nothing was more tragic than what happened to the Siller family. But from that suffering, God opened another door to Frank, who with his family started the Tunnels to Towers Foundation. What a gift it is, and what a gift it continues to be to the thousands of people that it helps. The Tunnels to Towers Foundation has given birth to dreams of hundreds and thousands of people. And it continues to show how the American spirit of hope, of love, compassion, and courage is alive and well today. This is the undying of what it means to be an American, is it not? A person's reputation is what they put on your tombstone. A person's character is what the angels say about you before the throne of God. I think the angels sang from the top of their lungs on 9/11 when Stephen entered those gates. I hope that everyone realizes their dreams, and by coming tonight and supporting the Tunnels to Towers and building for America's bravest, you are all helping families make their dreams come true. The past, that is a history. The future is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. I want to thank you all for coming, and again, enjoy the rest of the evening. And for all my friends that did not buy a ticket, thanks to a generous donor, I'm going to ask you to buy a bunch of Tunnels to Towers crap to give away at Christmas, please. Thank you again, and again, in your bags when you go to leave, there is Tunnels to Towers apparel form. I would love it if you could fill it out. If you want anything, email it to me, call me. Again, there's only 250 items. It's first come, first serve. We would love to raise, my goal by the end of the year is to raise another $10,000. So the bar is still open, and I'm hoping your checkbooks are flying right now, baby. Again, thank you. And Fabian gives his thanks in your bags, unbeknownst to him. See, you should never leave me alone to do things. And I think that this is a tale of that. Number one, Mr. John Brox is sitting here. For those of you that don't know, we grew up on our house on Laguna Vista. He and his wife Margie lived across the street, and his oldest son might have gotten in a little bit of trouble with my brother here and there. But in my dad's passing, he is the one that I talk to at night and talk about business and things. And the other night he realized I have ADD. And just, so if you don't know, men talk in highways, right? Men talk about one thing and go the next. It's a straight line. Women, we talk in cul-de-sacs. We start talking and then go around and around and talk about something else and eventually get back to that street and then go around and around. Well, I talk in four-leaf clovers because, honey, you never know where I'm going. And so I told John the other night, I said, don't you know that's why my dad went camping? He'd have his Merlot in the plastic Costco cup because he was just waiting for me to do a four-leaf clover conversation. So he hung up and he opened a bottle of wine and told Margie. Margie goes, what are you doing? I just talked to Julie. So in honor of that, not only there is a Rombauer night, there is a bottle of Schaefer for you in the back to take home. But you all get a free appetizer from Fabian since he's not here. It is in Mr. Charles printed for me at work. They're all in your bags when you go. So, and of course, every time you turn one in, you can say, you see, if you wouldn't have gone to Arizona, Julie wouldn't have given this. So Fabian did want you to come back and see him. He is absolutely wonderful. For those that don't know, this restaurant is also a gluten-certified kitchen. What are the odds you own an Italian restaurant and your son can't have dairy? So his son can't eat here, so he got us, everything is certified, you're good to go. His sausages, if you don't know, his wife is Carmela, they own Sam's Italian's Deli. So again, you can thank her for the wonderful sausage you guys had with your dinner tonight. And again, your desserts are coming. Again, thank you all so much. And for the United Carpet staff that's here, your support has been unbelievable. And my favorite Miss May that got here, thank you. I love you. Thank you all again.